Welcome back to a very basic space program. We are here with Discovery 12 and it is about to enter the Jupiter sphere of influence. Please join me. So, yeah, I've jumped over, at the end of the last episode we put our space station up, I've jumped over, as I said I would, to Discovery 12, and let's bring everything up. This has got 14 hours, I think it is. Yeah, 14 hours until it hits Jupiter's sphere of influence. We can have a look on the map. Let's have a look. There we go. You can see its periapse is in another 45 days, which is actually perfect for us because we can do this entry into Jupiter's sphere of influence. We can set up any maneuver we want. Then we can go and do our 30-day thing. So maybe it's actually worked out for the best for us, because if we'd have got our docking done a little bit quicker, if we'd done it 3 or 4 days quicker, we might actually run out of supplies if we weren't able to do that mission properly. Anyway, let's warp this forward. So today's missions are pretty much going to be get this thing to Jupiter and get our cruise mission finished and then return them to Earth. And it's going to be some sort of finishing missions, actually, I suppose, for us. We can actually go a bit faster. I'm now no longer having the problems with the arrow keys at the top here, which is good. We did have that at the end of the last episode, which was quite amusing. I don't know why that happens. It seems to happen occasionally to me, and it's happened in stock. Well, I say it's happened in stock. It's happened in installs in the past with mods, but I'm not entirely sure which mod it is or whether it's just an odd thing. I don't know. It could be alarm clock even that's playing up with it. It could be something that I'm doing. I don't know. Right. We are now in the sphere of influence of Jupiter. So I'm going to focus on not Ganymede. I'm going to focus on here. And we're going to, now, yes, I know we are coming in a retrograde direction. I know it's terrible. It doesn't really matter. To me, it doesn't really matter at all, if I'm entirely honest. We're going to try and pull this in to an orbit is what we're aiming for. We're going to put a maneuver in and try and grab orbit. Here we go. Pull it in. Now, I don't know what the required orbit is for the orbital capture thing, and the horrible thing is I don't know whether you need a new craft either for it. It may be that you need a new craft, in which case we can't do it with this craft, which would be really annoying, because the second craft to arrive, I don't believe has got the Delta V to actually capture, so that would be massively annoying. What is going on there? That is a very angular line. That's very strange, isn't it? I am a little concerned. Yeah, we're not going to hit the atmosphere. That's all right. Right. So that's going to be our maneuver in how long? Node in da-da-da, burn time da-da-da, start burn in 21. That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense whatsoever. Start the burn in 21 hours. Or maybe not showing it. Maybe it should be 44 days, 21 hours, 26 minutes. Possibly. So 5, yeah, that's what it's doing. Right. Is it doing it? Yeah, there we go. That's it. Right. So the other thing we need to do while we're here, though, is actually turn on our experiments. Make sure we're actually getting some science from this, because we're now in a, there we go, we're potentially getting science already. I can see it. Yeah, look at that. The good thing is we should be able to capture around Jupiter and do all of this science. So I'm tempted to not actually have it running, primarily because what's our power situation like? Because I'm aware the power on this thing is going to be eaten. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it off. We're going to turn off some of our experiments, because we're going to be in the sphere of influence for a while. This is a capture mission. We don't need to worry about anything else. We're going to turn these things off. There we go. What have we got that takes time? Actually, let's do this. Put them all back on again. And what have we got that takes a long time to run? Well, this one, that's not going to require much. That's like a couple of minutes. That's a couple of minutes. That's 30 days. We can leave that one running. That's 13 days, mass spec. 90 days, 90 days. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. 30 days, I don't really worry about, actually. So we'll just do the 290s. What's our power draw like now? What happens when I go into time warp? It's still draining. Okay, so what we will do is, we will just dump it all. Right, what's our power draw now like? This is where we find out that we don't actually have the ability to do anything. We are running out of electricity. Okay, is it because I'm transmitting data? Turn off the data transmission. What are we looking at now? There we go. We're getting power. Right. So we will have to, is it gonna, yeah, we're going to not do any science until we're in orbit. That's what we're going to do with this one, because that transmission of data is going to kill us, which is fine, because once we're in orbit, we're in orbit. We can get rid of these things here. Right, so that's going to do its thing. We've got a maneuver there set up, so we're not too worried about that. The Saturn one, we could actually prep, but we can do that after that's set up. And then the Discovery, that's the departure. It's in for a long time, isn't it? And then, so if we didn't capture with this, it would be leaving about 50 days before, no, I'd say like 80 days before Discovery 10 arrives. Got Mars Pathfinder anyway. So I think we're going to jump back to the space station now. So, yeah, let's get back to the space station and see what we can do. All right, so here we are in orbit with Dawn Station, and we need to be up here for 30 days. So is it taking into account the previous sort of 15 hours? Is it? No, it has reset. So we're going to actually have to sit on this, which is a little annoying, actually. We're going to have to sit on it for 30 days. We don't have anything else coming up immediately. We've got the Discovery reaching the periaps in 44 days. So this is a good time to do this. But this is one thing I would really love to see improved with new station contracts, them not resetting. Because we jumped away, I think we did about 14 hours we did for Discovery to get into the sphere of influence of Jupiter. That's not counted. Interestingly, though, I think, yeah, look, we've got this crew duration, I think, has counted it. So the stock crew duration, or the more stock crew duration record, has counted, but the first space station one doesn't. So we need to keep that in mind. So we're going to put this into a little bit of physical time, no, actual time warp. We'll let it go forward. We need to keep an eye on things, see how things going on. We know we're on about 9 days to start with, and we're just going to let this thing run through. And this is it's a little bit menial actually having to do this, but you know what? We'll go through it. We'll go through the process, and it'll be flashing. So what I will do is I will probably cut this bit out until I get to 30 days, unless anything more interesting happens, and I will talk to you. What I will say is we can see that the water there jumps to minus 1.2 or something like that very quickly. So we know this vessel actually probably every now and again needs probably about 2 to 3 water storage in there. I'd probably say 3 units of water storage in there. You can see the moon moving in the background there. We have completed the 2-day contract. We have got crew report, Earth low space. That's interesting. I wonder what that's actually about. We've got a crew report from low space. Right, so I think what we will do is we'll just sit here and I will... Oh, we've got another contract completed, have we? That's 3 days. Okay, that's a bit more money. We've got other contracts coming up. This is it. I don't actually remember what contracts they have that come up, so we're not going to do the 3. We could have done the 3 crew if we'd have left that person on board. But yeah, they would have died because we would have run out of resources, or they would have gone crazy. We're on the 7-day mission now. Okay, that's good. We're on to 22 days left on that one, 7 days on that one. There is I think there's a 30-day crew duration record mission as well. We won't get that with this because although they've been up for 30 days, it's not 30 days since the start of that contract. So yeah, that's not great, is it? Let's just check what we're looking at for supplies. We look okay. I think the only one that's low is food. Everything else looks as though we got perpetual of it. So that's good. Stress, I can't see any concerns. Nominal. Radiation habitat, everything looks okay. They look to be, they've got 11% stress right now. It's not a big issue. Completed another contract. That's a $250,000 for that. Wow. So they actually become worth doing. Interesting. We'll have to look at the cost of this, putting it up, and how is it worthwhile to actually do these 14 days. We may do this actually. We should do the 14-day one as well. So that's good. So anyway, I'm going to jump across to completing the 15 or so days we've got left, and I will see you once we have done that. So we have completed our mission parameter. We've now completed requiring them to keep on the station for 30 days. We also completed the 14-day one. So let's have a look how much money we get for that. We got almost 400,000. That's nice. I must have a look and see what future contracts pay us, because this 30-day one here might actually be the same sort of payout that the first station was. Now, we have a choice right now. We could put our crew into this capsule, decouple the capsule, send the capsule home, leave the station up here. Alternatively, we could put our crew into the capsule, orient at the station, retrograde burn the whole thing with the station's engines, then decouple the capsule, bring our crew home, and get rid of the station. I'm debating it. Now, I know there are space station missions. I know that we can add bits to this. The major issue I have with this station, first of all, it has these pods on, so they actually have a use. We don't have another docking port. That's a problem. So we only have a single docking port. If we sent something else up with multiple docking ports, that would be brilliant, but this currently does not have that. It does have this, which holds, will hold 15 tons, but if we add any more units to this, it's going to be more than 15 tons, so we have to keep it. So basically, at the moment, what we have here is basically human storage and some solar panels and some tanks. Now, we do have fuel in those tanks. We do have, probably, I think it's about 300 meters per second. And it's in a decent orbit. It's in the same orbit as the moon. It's at 300 kilometers. We have all these processing stuff. So actually what we'd only need to do is actually bring up something to fuel up the tanks. So I'm tempted to leave it. But it'd be interesting to know your thought on it, whether I should actually leave it or whether I should get rid of it. The concern I have is we are going to lose power on this thing. If it stayed as it is, it would have power for another 30 days or so, 25 days. But once we decouple this, it's going to be longer, I think. So yeah, that's the debate. Do we let it just die in orbit and then it's basically stuck there in graveyard orbit? I suppose it gives us an opportunity to send something up, dock to it, and return it to the Earth if need be. And that could be a nice little side mission that won't get us any money, but might be an idea. The alternatives are sending something up to resupply it quickly. We don't have the time to do that. It's going to be 30 days. I could potentially build a craft in 30 days, but I don't feel the need to. We do have, on the horizon, better tech coming up when we get this science in. So yeah, this thing is fulfilled its purpose. I don't feel the massive need to do anything else with it. It does have a lot of water and oxygen still on board. So I don't know. We do have a lot of supplies on board. If we actually have a look, we've got food for another 17 days. We've got oxygen is perpetual. We've got water for 50 days, which of course the fuel cells would fix anyway. The lithium hydroxide, we've got 24 days of it, so we'd have to replace that as well. I'm going to leave it up in orbit, I think, but I don't foresee us actually using it. So it may be that we have to send a craft up to get rid of it. Maybe that little docking test probe we actually used before, we may send one of those up just to deorbit it, just to provide power enough to deorbit it, because that's all we'll need to do is put enough power into it to start the systems up again and then bring it down. So I think we're going to prepare ourselves for bringing this thing back down. So I think we've done all the science that we could potentially do. Everything's done. First things first, we're going to oxygen, food, water, waste, all that sort of stuff, lithium hydroxide and electricity we're going to turn on. We're going to then turn on the avionics. There we go. We're warming the whole craft up a little bit. And then we're going to move some crew back. So first of all, we're going to move you. Where are we? Crew transfer. We're going to transfer the pilot in. There we go. That's the pilot moving in there with the interesting noises that it makes. Select the part or press escape. There we go. Done. Wonderful. Right. It takes a while. I quite like the fact that it takes a while, actually. It means you can't just do it like in a hurry. You can't just fake it. I mean, to be fair, we have ports that are only supposed to really be for propellant, but we're imagining they crawl over the outside of there. Right. So that's now done. We've got a really interesting view of Regina there. That's I'm not sure you sat in the right seat. Yeah. Now we're going to undock and see what happens. I'm hoping they're both in here. Let's actually just do a quick check. Before we do that, let's just make sure everything is ready. If I go for crew transfer, they are both in there. Okay. Antennas, everything is on. We have everything we need. Right. I'm going to undock. There we go. We're going to switch to this craft. We're going to... I'm going to control from here. Control from here. There we go. And then we're going to turn the RCS on and fire away from the station. You wouldn't normally do this. You just let it push away. We'd actually use the bumpers. We could actually use the bumpers on it. If I show you one thing you can do, has it got the bumpers? I believe it does or doesn't. These used to have bumpers. This must be the stock model then. So they used to have bumpers on them, and this does not. How interesting. So I've used the stock model. I wonder if there's a different model that I've missed. Anyway, right. We will check that our electric system is working now we've done that. Make sure all this is working. Do all the clicky clicking. Dump that. Dump please. There we go. Running. And then dump that and running. There we go. Right. Get rid of that. And now we're going to go for a return. Now we have, how long have we got? We've got electric charge for 2. How have we only got electric charge for 2 hours? Are we out of... Oh, I know why. Turn that on. There we go. That's better. Yeah, so we have perpetual that. We've got a day of both of those. That's why. Yeah, there we go. Right. I think we're ready to go. Where do we want to come down? Do we want to go around the planet and come down in the sun? I don't know. Let's come to here. This is where we kill the crew because they haven't got something turned on. That's what we do. All right, so we have our crew members on holiday after their wonderful trip. We've got a load of money because we've completed stuff. They've got no experience because they didn't really do anything. We've got some points we're going to put into the VAB, I think. A little bit of science, but not enough to do much yet. Contract is completed. So what does that open up for us? Does it open up any space station ones, any other further ones? Oh, yeah. Send a new crew. They're going to go dock and then come back down. It doesn't actually say anything about them staying there. Launch crew to the Dawn 1. Launch a new vessel. Crew between 2 and 3. Have at least 1 docking port. There you go, dock to it. Done. So that gives us some source of that. And a power module. Generate at least 4 electric charge per second. Okay. And that's a very small fee there, actually, for that. That's interesting. So that's that option. We're going to also look at, where are we? I need to take the Jupiter flyby. So this needs to be within that distance there. And I think we are within it. I'll need to check. I'm hoping we're within it. And once we get that, we can then potentially go Jupiter orbit. But I don't think we'll have like the required periapses. I don't know what the periaps range is for that. Oh no, we should have because it's just orbit. Right. Let's go and have a look at our Jupiter mission, I think. All right, what I'm actually going to do is we've got a GNS-1 here on a Javelin 4A. I'm going to take that off, I think. Yeah, I'm going to take that off because we need to actually modify the GNS. We need to give it the correct fuel type primarily for orientation. So we're going to scrap that. So that will stop me from just assuming it's correct. We can change that. We've got the Pathfinder's building. And we've got the Discovery Neptune there, which will be flying in 500 days. We also need to have a think about the Mars mission. So before we come to Jupiter, let's go and have a look here. Not first, Mars. Yeah, we're on Mars. We're on about 200 kilometer orbit, and we're going to originate at about 200 kilometers from here. And we're going to plot it. Let's have a look now. The perfect time would be right now, but we don't have anything to go. So let's change that to 4, and then let's plot that. And there we go. We've got a window there that's not bad actually for a capture orbit around there. We will add that to the KSC calendar. So that's in about 2 years' time. We have a decent window for Mars. We may want to go for a landing at that point. We may want to go for an atmospheric probe. So we'll keep that in mind. Pathfinder 2 will be well built by then. Neptune will be well built by then. I'm just wondering, Venus is in 277 days. We could send 2 Venus Pathfinders if we did that. I don't know why we put the Mars one there. And then that would be there, which would be filled, and then that would come in after that. So that'd be 4, that'd be 500. I think that's the better way to do it. Yeah. I think so. I think that's the way we're going to go for it. Right. What else have we got coming up? We have a We have a Uranus flyby. We still don't have a Saturn flyby because we haven't sent it. And our Neptune is that one there. So Saturn is currently rolling out. It's going to go. Then Neptune will be done. And that's all of the outer planets with a vessel of some sort on their way there. So that's that done. Let's go and have a look at the Jupiter craft. So we're flying through space. Where are we looking? Is that Jupiter just there? That might be Jupiter, or I believe it is. Yeah, there's the sun. So that would be Jupiter that we're heading towards. So just to remind you, let's just check everything is set up correctly still for this. We can actually rename it. Let's rename this vessel, actually. Can we? Yeah, let's rename it, because I don't like having all this on the end of there. It makes it a bit long-winded. And we're going to turn it into a relay, actually, because it's going to be an orbital thing. Right. So it's got electricity is okay. It's holding its electric charge. It's got a bit of fuel available to it, so it's going to do that burn. And I think we're pretty much ready for it, aren't we? I think we're going to just go towards the required point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to here. We're going to warp in. Let's warp in. And there you go. Look at that. You can actually see the Jupiter system there, the Janus system. I can remember what it's called. Look at that. It's still such a long way away. What is the required distance of our flyby? Actually, I've just remembered we need to check that. So it needs to be 150,000 kilometers. 150,000 kilometers. Where's our periaps? What is our periaps? Yeah, we're about 5,000 kilometers. So that's going to be fine. It's going to be good. Right, I'll tell you what, we're going to accelerate to here. So that's just the Callisto orbit there. That's going to be cool. We'll go to the Callisto orbit, and then we can actually just get an eye on some of the things that we're going to be going past. We're obviously tumbling, because that's what we do. 18 hours. It is huge, isn't it? Jupiter is a huge planet. Gas giant or what? I remember as a child actually reading in books and stuff about the fact that, Jupiter was almost big enough to be a star and things like that. I don't believe it actually is. There was talk of, in the future we could set Jupiter alight and it could do da-da-da-da. I don't think that is ever going to happen. I don't think so. Yeah, but it is a huge, huge mass, and we should really thank Jupiter for a lot for what it's done. It's helped basically clear out and pull the asteroids towards it. I mean, you could argue it probably disrupts the asteroid belt around here. Mars again is shielding Earth from asteroids. It cleans them up with its orbit a bit. Everything adds together, doesn't it? Let's go a bit further. Let's warp into the bus lanes, as it were. Now, obviously, we're coming in reasonably flat on it, which is not bad actually. We're coming in not at a bad position. I'm just wondering, our inclination change is going to end up being around here, isn't it? Which is annoying. Wonder if we could do that now. Where is our... Let's have a look. Where is it? It's going to be about there, isn't it? If I wanted to actually bring my inclination so that it was flat. Yeah, that's an awful lot of delta V there, isn't it? That's an awful lot of delta V. Get rid of that. Which we don't have. So we'll just play with what we've got. Let's have a look. Let's watch us coming in. Let's do a bit of speedy uppiness. Now, obviously, we've got all of the equipment turned off at the moment. We're not even controlling orientation, which was probably not that accurate. If we were coming in really, we'd have actually orientated the dish towards Earth, and we'd be holding position, and that's how we'd be working. We have not done that primarily just because I don't want to move the position of our approach to Jupiter. We can't really see any of the other bodies at the moment, which is cool. We're just coming in. Coming in very close there. Is that that must be some of the moons of Jupiter there. Coming in reasonably good. Come on. Now I do believe for the flyby we have to transmit science, don't we? Transmitted it from space near Jupiter. So are we considered to be in space near Jupiter? Let's have a look. Info. Space high. Okay, so we just need to be in space near. That's what we're looking for. Okay. Right, we're gonna keep that there. Here we are, look at that. That's a beast of a planet, isn't it? Right. Gonna come in and Yeah, about an hour to go until our burn. The burn is going to be about 5 minutes. It's going to be most of the fuel on this craft. It's going to be pretty much everything we have. My concern is that we may not have orientation on it, thinking about it, but we could, I suppose we could if we don't have signal, that will be actually annoying. It'll be very annoying, in fact. I'm going to allow myself to do it even if we don't have signal, or we'll cheat it somehow, somewhere. We'll figure it out. Right. 23 minutes. Are we now close? Space low. There we go. So we could actually run this now and just gather that and transmit it. Let's just do that. Pull that into there. Right. We're going to start that. Oh, we don't have signal. Oh, right. So now we're going to go to node and turn on the RCS. There we go. And now we're going to actually do a bit cheatiness. I think I can start the engines when we've got no signal. I hope we can anyway. If we can't, it's a bit annoying. We will have to figure something out, because of course you'd have this program to do this. It's its entire mission. You would have it programmed to do this this maneuver. We could just get it up to do it automatically. In fact, you know what? Let's do that maneuver planner. Where's maneuver planner? We'll do it as if it was that. Execute next node is what we're going to do. There we go. We'll just let it do that for us, and that should just pull us into orbit, which is nice. Let's see how it goes. There we go. There's the node. Okay. It wants to fire. At some point, it'd be a good idea if it fired. Can you fire now? Will you fire? Do you want to fire? There we go. Thank you very much. It's interesting. So it actually recalculates a little bit, because you can see now burn time is in X amount of time. That's interesting. Let us speed this up, because it's going to be a 5-minute burn. I don't think we need to talk 5 minutes. So of course, one of the big problems with trying to capture in orbit around Jupiter and places like that is that you will not have signal, because you're behind the back of them normally. You're coming out, and you're often coming and you're going to do your burn in the dark, as it were. So you would have it automated. You'd have, if you want to play it that way, you could put KOS on and you could have a script doing it. You can have MechJeb do it for you. That's what we're going to do here. But it really doesn't matter. The systems would be there on the craft. It would orientate itself. It would hold its position, and then it would fire its engines. Obviously, it's never 100% perfect. Mars is a perfect example of things just going wrong. I think up until sort of 2000, 50% of the missions that had gone to Mars had basically failed. There was, strings of failures in the sort of the start of the 90s, the 2000s. There was a string of failures there as well. Most of them, unknown, some of them human errored. Some of them found out to be less failures than we thought. Beagle 2, for example, did actually land. It just didn't open its solar panels properly and never transmitted back to Earth that it was actually safe. So these things, these things go on, these things happen, and it's unfortunate, but we strive, we move forward. Now I think we are captured, so we're going to abort that node. There we go. I believe we are captured. This is where I find out we're not. Yeah, we're in a really, really high orbit though. Okay, so that's how long actually is this orbit going to be? It's a year. It's an actual year. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that actually. That is not a problem. What we will do is we will close that down. So this is going to be a year long mission sort of thing. We can't do that. I can't turn on the controls or anything. We're gonna fly past Jupiter, get signal. There we are. We now have signal. So now we can jump into here and we can go turn on all of this, send the signals, get everything going. There we go. And are we still in? We're still in space low. So that's good. So we're going to be trying to get some data sent as quickly as possible. What we could actually do is turn everything else off, but I don't really want to. Right, let's have a look. What's our power like? That is the question, isn't it? We're going to turn our avionics off actually while I'm thinking about it. Shut down the avionics, don't need that. Turn off that, turn off the RCS, turn off that. So this thing's now going to do a year-wise orbit, which is interesting. I had not thought that's a long time, a year orbit of Jupiter. Shows you just how big it actually is. That's a beautiful image actually, isn't it? There, look at that. That is superb. So I think that will probably be some of the moons of Jupiter, I'm guessing, lined up like that, potentially. It might not be. It might be Earth and Mars and Venus, for all I know, but it could be the moons of Jupiter. If we have a look on the map, are they over there? They are not. So that is probably Earth. And so, yeah, it's actually probably them. That's really cool. let's see if we can get that again. So are they to the side of the sun? Yeah, so they are there. So that would be, let's take the picture there. So what is it? Let's have a look on the map. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? So it's Vesta. We can't be seeing Vesta, surely. Mars, Earth, the sun. So it is. So that would be Earth there. That would be Mars. And that would be Vesta potentially. And then you've got Mercury there. Wow. That is cool, isn't it? Yeah. That's the equivalent of the old pale blue dot, I would suppose. So let's have a look. What are we doing? Have we completed this mission yet? Let's have a look. Jupiter flyby transmits science from space near Jupiter. So let's get this thing going. Get some science transmitted, please. I would love it if it would transmit. Let's check and see what our power is like. Power is going down, but that's okay. That is not a massive problem for us. We know that's going to happen. We know we're going to run out of electricity. This thing's just going to gather data in max attack. There we go. It is completed. Okay, now we want to actually run back to see if we can actually take the next mission. So its apoapsis is a huge distance up. Let's have I've got to zoom in a bit. Batteries are getting low. We'll just leave them as they are. So we're looking at, that is a huge number, isn't it? So that's what, 46 gigameters or gigameters, yeah, which is, I don't know, it's a lot of meters. It's an awful lot of meters. So let's go back and see, can we get the orbital contract as well? We're at about what, 5 million meters above. So we'll have a look at Space Center and see the contracts available. Contracts, what have we got? We've got Jupiter orbit. What does that say? Periaps below that, stable orbit, doesn't need a new craft. Maximum periaps is huge. We'll take that. Thank you very much. We can complete that pretty quickly. Jupiter atmospheric probe. Transmits science from Jupiter atmosphere after going below 800 kilometers. I don't even know if that's possible. I don't even know if that's possible to go 800 kilometers into Jupiter's atmosphere, but I want to try it now. That's actually, that's something I want to do. What else have we got? Wow, we have opened up a world of flybys there. So that's all of the moons of Jupiter, I'm guessing. Yeah, so the moons of Jupiter have now become available. We've got all of the Saturn, Uranus, Neptune is available. Pluto is available. That's not bad, although it's a lot of work for a very long-term project, I suppose. You have to get very close to it. Io, Ganymede, that's cool. So we've got a lot of flyby opportunities there. What else have we got? Oh, you can also do the rovers for those as well as the flybys, and that's really nice actually. That is that because often the landings and stuff were a problem. So that's a nice little change. The interesting thing is that it has not. Yeah, this is the thing that annoys me. So we have to do the Vesta and Ceres flyby before it will activate the landing or the orbit contracts. Now the orbit contracts, do they always require new ones? I don't think they do. No, that's not new vessel, so that's not a big issue. But the landing one requires a new vessel, which I think is a little cheeky, because if I'm going to Vesta or Ceres and I'm getting into orbit, I can pretty much land. I think it's only a couple of 100 meters per second for landing. You can actually use your orbiter to land in some ways. So that's something that's maybe a little bit annoying. But then you've got these ones that you can send. Look at those rovers. So this is where you get the big money coming in just by sending rovers out. Right. So we've now got that contract done. Let's go and jump back out to Jupiter. Oh, I suppose we have to go into here and find it. Right, here we are back around Venus. It's Venus? Here we are back around, start again. Here we are back around Jupiter. And that was terrible. That was actually terrible. Yeah, Venus and Jupiter. I suppose they look similar, don't they? You can see our craft has it's running out of electricity. It's basically producing enough electricity to occasionally wake up and do stuff, but the actual experiments will eat stuff. So we've completed that contract for the flyby. That's done. We now have the next contract, which is the orbiter contract. And you can see Maximum periaps of that. Oh, are we not? Oh, we've got to check it for a minute. Okay, that's why. So we just got to wait for a minute for it to check that, and it should okay itself very soon. Let's have a look. It is done. There we go. So that's done as well. So that's more money, and a bit of science. And you can see that we are, let's have a look. We've got 155 science now. If I do this and we have a look at just the general info, we've got 63 credits of science coming in, and you can see we've got a load of science just stacked up in there. We've got 35 there, got a little bit there, we've got all sorts of stuff. There's not much there, actually, a bit there. 17 temperature scan, so pressure scans, basically trying to get through space low pressure. This can just continue. We're gonna be bumping up science for a while now off this. It's going to be just going on. We still have a 330 meters per second of delta V, and the question is now, what do I want to do with it? I mean, potentially we could skim the atmosphere of Jupiter. I don't know what altitude the atmosphere of Jupiter is. I could probably we could go and figure it out. We could go and look in documentation, and this craft would know. I do find this odd line very strange, isn't it? I think it would be interesting for us to do that, to actually figure out, do we want to go into there, or do I want to align myself more on the plane of these things? Let's actually look. Which is the biggest? Is it Ganymede, or is it? I think Ganymede's big, isn't it? Europa, Io. Let's assume they're all pretty much on the same plane. So let's go with Ganymede. Let's set as target. Our inclination is terrible, obviously, because we're in a retrograde orbit. That's not a big issue, though. What I actually want is to get it to exactly 180. So how much does it cost me to get this? Oh, hello. No, up here, please. Thank you. Doesn't like that, does it? It doesn't seem to like doing this. So let's imagine we're going to... Oh, hello. Come back. Come back. It is not enjoying this at all, is it? Right, we want to actually get the descending node to be 180. Yeah, we can't do that. We can't do that. I know somebody had a comment about you're coming in retrograde. I didn't really mind about the retrograde. It was more the inclination. Yeah, that's not perfect. What we should have done is actually changed it so that our ascending or descending node was down here, and then our ascending and descending node would have been up there, and it would have been a tiny little inclination change. Let's give you an example. Let's actually have a look. What happens if I do this? Add maneuver. Can we? Yeah, I mean, that in itself is an interesting one, isn't it? It's changing the inclination quite considerably. Actually, can we do anything from there just to do this? That would be interesting. Can I actually change the inclination of the? See, that's a lot of delta V there, and this thing does not like playing with this, does it? Hello. We're now stuck. Okay. No, come on. Are we? I think it dislikes when the signal is going in and out. I think is the problem. Is one thing I've noticed. So we do a bit of that all the way around. Oh, hello. We have actually got an interaction there. That's interesting. Get rid of that. Right, let's try putting a maneuver in up here and just seeing, do we ever get anything interesting? Progress? No. You know what? I will wait until we're actually towards it, and then we'll make a decision, because at the moment we're just gathering science. We're gathering an awful lot of science. You can see just by being in 2 times speed, we've added another 40 science to here. We are basically running the RTGs at maximum attack right now. And there we go, we're pointing towards the Earth, sending our signals back. Isn't that lovely? So I think that is going to be it for this episode. I don't know how long this episode has gone on for. There's been a lot of fiddling in the background, so the recording is all over the place for me to edit. But yeah, from me, until next time, when I think we're going to be sending off another Saturn craft, and potentially we've got Pathfinder arriving at Mars, so we can do that. Our first orbit of another planet is an orbit of Jupiter, which is very odd. So from me, until next time, have a great one.